Susan, Jason Lewis received a sentence of 12 and a half years in prison tonight in a hearing that lasted about an hour and a half, and there were some tears in that courtroom tonight. And let me tell you this, that when some family members were given the opportunity to make a victim impact statement, one family member looked right at Jason Lewis and called him a coward. Another, Karan's grandmother, said to Lewis, "You broke our family with your actions, and I pray you have to think of him every single day." The judge in the case said that he believed that Mr. Lewis had made up the story of seeing a gun and a flash that night. But then he said, "I think that Mr. Lewis is a good man who committed a terrible crime." Here's the...
On the eve of his sentencing, Jason Lewis, seen here with his attorney outside the courthouse last summer, sent a letter to the judge apologizing profusely, writing, "Everything that I've committed myself to in reference to giving young people opportunities to grow, learn, and progress has felt in vain. I wrecked so much that night." The letter included a photo of Lewis and his new baby girl. At the time of the shooting, Lewis was a D.C. government employee working with young people at the Department of Parks and Recreation. In the early morning hours of January 7th, 2023, prosecutors say Lewis grabbed his gun and walked out of his home on Quincy Street Northeast and opened fire on 3 teens he suspected of breaking into cars. He fired once at 2 teens in a car and twice more as Karan Blake ran toward him. As Lewis fired, a surveillance camera recorded Blake saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm a kid, I'm 12. At trial, Jason Lewis claimed he fired in self-defense after the teens in the car fired at him. However, prosecutors say that never happened, and none of the cameras at Lewis's house or anywhere in the neighborhood recorded a fourth shot. Prosecutors also claim in a new filing Jason Lewis potentially obstructed the truth from getting to the jury when his wife suddenly vanished during the trial. And although she was issued a subpoena, the U.S. Marshals could not find her. In a court filing, prosecutors say if Laprelle Ballinger didn't testify, it conveniently weighed in defendant's favor. Of course, defendant knows how detrimental her testimony would be to his own trial. Prosecutors anticipated Ballinger would testify, having only heard 2 gunshots that night. In a filing of its own, the defense says Ballinger had her own attorney, who had been advised she had a privilege not to testify.
Now, although the defense asked that Jason Lewis be given the opportunity to turn himself in, the judge denied that. He was what they called stepped back immediately. The U.S. Marshals took him into custody. He asked that he be placed in protective custody. The judge said he couldn't order that, but he could recommend it. It's unclear why they want him in protective custody. That's the latest here from D.C. Superior Court. Now back to you.
At the end of the day, is anyone really surprised? We kind of saw how this case was going out as we've been trying to keep up with it. Remember that Mr. Lewis was the man that came out of his home in the middle of the night, which they just now said in this news broadcast in the early hours. It was like 2 or 3 a.m. And if you want me to have some empathy and sympathy for this child, help me understand why at 12 years old you was out at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. No one cares about that. How about the other 2 kids? No one seems to care about them. Ask what they were doing, what was going on, where had they been, what was their plan, where were their parents, whose car were they driving, did they have a license, what were you doing in this neighborhood, were you visiting someone, did you have any relatives? I mean, if we could use some common GD sense around here. I'm so pissed off about this. Because somewhere, some stupid ass mind of someone, we're supposed to care about gremlins who are gremlinizing, destroying people's lives, destroying communities, destroying property, taking things that don't belong to them, working for nothing, following no rules, and then being told that it's okay because because you're just a kid. Now, I know he ain't here no more, and I have no empathy for that. I have no sympathy for that whatsoever. This is a government employee here. Now, I just heard the story, and there's a discrepancy, and this, that, and the third, and it quite possibly could be what they're saying. If you were at home like you were supposed to be, If you were not in a vehicle with other teenagers who allegedly don't have licenses at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, I need someone to help me understand why his good mama was at home, why it is that he was on the streets of DC. And if I'm not mistaken, he may have even lived in Baltimore. Help me understand that. And where, in this particular case, is the help from the community to help this Black man? Where is the NAACP? Where is the National Black Caucus or the Trayon White Child, whatever district this is? Nobody has anything to say for this law-abiding citizen up to this point anyway? For this man who was a homeowner, a government employee, married. Now, I don't know what's going on with him and his wife now, but that's a whole different live stream, child. Kids, trying to protect his community from people who should not have been there. I'm sure, and had a concealed carry, mind you, and had a concealed carry. Now, I'm sure people will say he should have called the oppressor, and maybe he should have called the oppressor. But can we at least say that the parent of that child and the other two kids aren't doing their jobs? Remember, we're supposed to just ignore that. It's never a parent's responsibility. The amount of comments in the video with regard to that pastor and what he said to that young pregnant girl that's saying that he shouldn't have done that and it's not right and she should have just did what she wanted to do. Y'all never say shit about parents. I guess that's why America is ghetto, because you allow your fucked up kids to do whatever they want. And then you turn around thinking that somebody's supposed to give an entire fuck about them. We do not. We do not. How come you can't teach your kids to not be gremlins? How come you can't teach your kids to follow the damn law? And the interesting part is that all the people that will come out and support these freaking criminals and don't have nothing to say about this man. Don't have nothing to try to do, doing nothing to try to help this man. Doing nothing. This man, I believe, is like in his 60s, lived his whole freaking life. Probably followed the rules for most of it. I'm going to assume so since he was a homeowner, married with children in DC as a government employee. What did any of those three, where do they work? What are they offering to society? What taxes do they pay? What do they do for anyone? Nobody even thought to do anything or look into the other two people that were in the alleged stolen car. This is the crazy ass topsy-turvy world that we have been living in for the last 4 fucked up years. And when y'all wonder why Donald Trump became president, wonder no more. People are tired of this bullshit. Us, as people who follow the law, people who work, people who go out and get it, people who don't steal, people who follow the fucking rules, people who try to do the right thing and just want to take care of their families, live safely, and tell motherfuckers like that to leave me the entire fuck alone and go back to where the fuck it is that you came from. But no, that's supposed to be inconsiderate. Fuck all of y'all. Do you hear me? Fuck all of y'all that think that. You hear me? I'm not supposed to be ranting this year, but this is a 2-year ago story, so I'm owed this one. No consideration whatsoever, but as soon as a young motherfucker come up here and he'd be like, not my baby, everybody and their motherfucking black ass mother and nigga that ain't got shit to do about nobody in advance of it, never ask me for shit. Never ask me to speak for shit. Don't ask me to donate shit. Don't ask me to give shit. I ain't got shit to offer or give. If you can't go fucking work, don't have no fucking kids. If you can't take care of your damn kids, don't have no kids. Somehow, some way, nobody wants to talk about that. And then we'll turn around and talk about white supremacy, discrimination, and racism. The last thing that's the problem for most black people is fucking discrimination and racism. It's your own fucking self. It's your own stupid ass way of thinking. It's your own thought process that you're owed something. Don't nobody owe you jack fucking shit. Especially your fucking kids. If you can't take care of those motherfuckers, then don't have them. If you got pregnant by a bum, that's you and that bum's fucking problem. Keep your fucking spawn in your own fucking house. I'm tired of this shit. Good luck to Mr. Lewis. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely damn ridiculous.